Hey there guys, welcome to the very delayed third vlog in my British finals prep. What we're going to cover today, just going to go over a couple of very basic things today. We're going to cover off different styles of training that I use, because obviously I like to mix it up. How my diet's going to change in the following 8 to 7 weeks roughly, and the things that I found over the past week or so since the last video. Okay, so we'll start off with the different training styles. Yesterday I tried out some time under tension stuff. Just pretty much just went for really good contraction, really good stretch in the muscle. It was about 4 seconds in the positive and 4 seconds in the negative movement. So it was nice and slow, just making sure that it squeezed at the very top, and also make sure that we held the stretch at the bottom for around about 1.5 seconds. And then just bringing it in for about 4 seconds all at the top, and then 4 seconds down. That was on every exercise. Probably going to implement the same sort of thing on back as well, and delts. Delts going to be a little bit harder. Going to have to really lighten the weight on delts, with laterals, things like that, just to make sure that I am getting a full contraction. The reason why I do this is because what I find is that it creates a much better mind-muscle connection. So when I come to increase the weights again, it means that in my mind, I know how that muscle is meant to feel. I know how it should react. I know how the fibers should contract, things like that. So I'll know exactly if I'm doing it right. If I feel like there's another muscle coming into play, I'm doing it wrong. So it's just for me about learning a bit more about my body. So I've been doing that. I've also been introducing some GVT training now and again. That's purely just because I'm not a big fan of cardio. So what I try and do to stay in shape is just increase the volume, increase the sets, things like that, increase the intensity. So I do some GVT now and again. Also as well, I like to throw in a lot of, I don't know whether you see when I post my workouts, I like to throw in a lot of things like NOS sets, drop sets, supersets and giant sets, purely just for intensity. Just to really flood the muscle with blood, get all the nutrients in there, and make sure that obviously we're getting like an optimal contraction and stretch in the muscle as well. So that covers off the different training types. Obviously as well, you got my heavy training, but yeah, so that covers them off. Now in regards to how my diet's going to change, it's probably going to change quite dramatically in about 24 hours. Main reason for that is money. As you know, things haven't been very easy for me. Like I said, I work in a job that I love, but unfortunately it doesn't pay my bills very well. It doesn't pay my bills. So obviously that's been a bit of a problem. Now it's payday for me soon in the week after, but today I got some extra work going on. You know, you got to do whatever you can. So tomorrow, straight away when I wake up tomorrow, I'm at work tomorrow until 4 o'clock. But literally in the morning I'm going to blast around, go buy some chicken, probably get myself some salmon or some white fish, and then with my carbs, just sweet potato, nothing else. I won't have anything else but sweet potato in my diet from now on. I'll be my only carb source from food. If supplementation allows, then I'll probably get myself some dextrose or some maltodextrin, most likely, or waxy maize. If I can afford waxy maize, I'll get waxy maize, just purely because I want to keep the sugars as low as possible. You know, that everybody knows the way that sugars work in your body, and they're not necessary. So I try and keep them to an absolute minimum. The only time I really want any form of carb in my diet is post-workout anyway. I want to have zero carb breakfast again, obviously with my money and things like that, to just purely keep myself from starving. Been having things like oats in the morning mixed in with eggs or beef or whatever I've got. That'll change straight away. That's going to go to egg whites and eggs. So probably about 2 whole eggs, 6 egg whites in the morning, or 3 whole eggs, 6 egg whites in the morning. And then we'll probably go in with some chicken and green veg again. Then we'll go with a pre-workout shake if I can afford it. Just get some isolate or whatever protein I can get before training. And then we'll go, after that, we'll introduce the isolate with waxy maize. And then after that, we'll be having like the fish meal. and then after that we'll be going with the 2 whole eggs, 6 egg whites. So I always keep my egg whites at 6, just purely because of protein intake, just to try and keep it as high as possible. But I'm going to see how my body reacts to that in a week. Hopefully should bring some fullness, and hopefully as well should try and bring some just bring a bit more into the muscle as well. Bring, you know, like lean it out a little bit, because I have put on a bit of body fat unnecessarily, purely through being high carb. It's not what I want, but it's what I've had to do. So that's how my diet's going to change. Probably going to go down a little bit more on the carbs. Probably go from 200 right now, probably go down to 150 at about 4 weeks out, depending on how my physique is. I might not do a carb load this time. I might just try and stay looking full, and then maybe introduce some tapered up carbs on the days running up the show. So not necessarily a carb load, just increase of carbs. So that's how things will change. It's going to be very basic, you know, the same meats as usual. After that, we're probably going to be, after the British finals, I'm going to have a hell of an off season. Going to enjoy going to enjoy growing this time. Going to try and sit around. I know I don't normally focus on weight. I know you don't really hear me say that much, but I'm going to be trying to sit around 16, roughly around 16 stone, 15 and a half minimum in the off season this year. Staying lean. It's going to put on a lot more mass this year. So big changes over the off season this time. No shows in the pipeline for next year quite yet, depending on how I look. If I look good enough for certain shows, I'll do them. If I don't look good enough for certain shows, then I'll do different ones. Or if I don't feel like I'm good enough yet, I might just take a year out, but who knows what's going to happen at the British finals. Now, things I've found in the past week. Let's go with some little rants. Okay, the first one, diet wheys. Alright, I work in a shop that sells them, so you know, some people like them, but as a personal opinion, I think they're absolutely awful. Diet wheys, 99% of them use a lower quality protein source. One of the most popular ones, which rhymes with me makes me. It's also something that you can get if you get a degree in a very high up one. There you go, that's a clue on what company that is. They changed their recipe, or their formula. Now the protein that they now have in their diet whey is not remotely the same as what it used to be. It used to be a good product. Now it's full of milk proteins. Quite a lot of their products as well now have wheat protein in, and quite a lot of other proteins do have wheat protein in. Now, why they've started putting wheat protein? Well, it's obvious, money for them. It's a lower grade ingredient. It costs a lot less. But if I was to say to you, where would you get your protein sources from? Would you think wheat? I don't think so. Not in a chance. No chance in hell would you get your protein from wheat. Most people have an intolerance to wheat for starters, so why on earth would you have it? So yeah, that's the one thing. And also diet wheys as well, like the amount of thermogenic ingredients in them just doesn't warrant a fat burning stack. Fat burners in general, some of them work, some of them are just absolute jokes. But diet wheys, if you want to buy a diet whey, do it. Go waste your money, go throw it down the drain, because that's pretty much what you're doing. My advice is the same thing that I preach every single day. Bioavailability, you got cost per gram of protein, things like that. Alright, work it out. If you think, right, I'm getting this diet whey, oh, it's got this in, most likely as well they've got more carbs in than an isolate. So don't cheat yourself, get yourself an isolate. You're going to get more protein out of it, you're going to get better results out of it, and you're actually getting a leaner source and a better source of protein. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you buy a cheaper ingredient? So yeah, that's one of them. Another one is just the attitudes of older people in the gyms recently. I've noticed it's getting more and more common to see no carbs after 6 o'clock. Only lift heavy, that's the only way to get big. All these sort of things, alright? Like, you'll learn that it's not the only way to train. You can train in different ways. And you've got much more optimal ways of training. And optimal ways of eating. No carbs after 6 o'clock, that's absolute bullshit. My carbs probably don't start until after 6 o'clock. So, do I look fat? Don't think so. I also heard no more than 50 grams of carbs a day is necessary. If you want to starve, that's fine. But yeah, that's what they say. Also as well, carbs are the only energy source that you can have. That's where you get all your energy from. That's also not true. Fats are a much more available source of energy. MCTs, things like that. Medium chain triglycerides. It's hard to say if you're from Newcastle. Those are much more beneficial for energy. You get a lot more clean energy from them. You don't get conversion to fat, things like that. So it is a lot better. So yeah, but if you do hear these sort of things in your gym, if you hear people saying those sort of things, just don't take it in. And if you can, just try and call out on it. Just say, alright, why? And they won't have an answer. And then just throw some evidence their way and see if watch them cry about science. Unfortunately, I know someone who I can tell them anything under the sun. I can show them loads of scientific evidence, but because they did it a different way, it's not true. So you'll get these people, just ignore them, just do what you think works for you. Like you see a lot of personal trainers, good ones, will say copy and paste diet don't work. Like even me, I'm not a personal trainer or anything like that, but I do diet plans for people because I will help them. It's what I think is probably best. It might not necessarily be what's absolutely perfect, because I don't spend my nights reading books and things like that, because I don't have the time to be doing things like that with work and things. So I just try and learn as much as I can from other ways. So that's one way. One thing you can do, just educate people, especially in the gym. If someone comes up and giving you absolute bullshit advice, just tell people, right, don't listen to them. Go and do your own research. Think about what works for your body, because these guys are just going by 1950s logic. So don't worry about that. Other things I've found as well in the past week of my training and physique is that things have improved a little bit. Put on a little bit more size, leaned out a tiny bit, but the body fat's still there. My mental attitude is a lot better. Last week I didn't even want to train. I will admit, I was just really low. I think it's just the food. It was almost like being in a depletion week. It was horrendous. But this week I feel a lot better. My whole physique's changed already. Back started to thicken out. I was starting to tighten up, things like that. So I feel a hell of a lot better. So that's pretty much everything from me today anyway. If you have any more questions, just fire them through on Twitter. I'll get them answered as quick as I can. And I have an appointment with the, I'm going to say, hack squat today, leg day. Over and out.